Hey guys, welcome back to the Xicana.Boxing podcast or whatever this is. Okay, so this week we did have two cards for the Mexican Independence Weekend, missing Canelo, of course, but not really because this motherfucker announced his fight this week. So we did have a top rank card in Vegas, and then we also had a Golden Boy card here in Carson in my fucking backyard. And while I do want to talk about both of those fights, and especially the Golden Boy one because that's where I was at, right now Golden Boy has some drama, some Casos de la Vida Real shit, some telenovela shit that we all want to discuss, I'm sure, because, the whole thing with Ryan and Canelo, it might be a publicity stunt, it might be, some PR shit, or they might be actually in some deep water, so I do want to discuss that. But first of all, let's just start with Canelo versus Kovalev. Canelo finally announced his fight with Sergey Kovalev. It's been finalized. It's official November 2nd at the MGM in Las Vegas, which I thought was a little different because we know that Canelo's been fighting at the T-Mobile Arena since it opened. I believe the first fight at the T-Mobile Arena was Amir Khan versus Canelo. So, it's something new. I'm pretty sure it's because of the date. T-Mobile probably has something else already, fucking scheduled there. So they had to go back to the MGM, which is pretty cool, right? And then it took the whole internet by storm. I was expecting it because we were all expecting for this deal to be finalized. However, you are never ready for the Canelo backlash, or both with the good and the bad. It's crazy, right? How fans react to Canelo announcing just about any fucking fight. Now, we know that there's people that are like, oh, nice, Canelo is going up 2 weight classes. He's going to be fighting at what the fuck is this? He's going to be fighting at, light heavyweight. That's crazy. What is up with my hair today? Okay, whatever. Pretend, okay? Just shut up. Yeah, so there's that wow factor that, holy shit, Kovalev, that's basically the longest reigning champion for the light heavyweight division in the recent years, besides Stevenson, but, he was pushing aside his mandatories and shit. Point is, people are, wild about it, while a lot of others who are also not the biggest fans of Canelo are bashing it because we saw how Kovalev looked against Yard just this past month, and people are like, if Yard almost had him out, of course Canelo's gonna take him out. John David Jackson already put the blueprint. Ward already put the blueprint. He don't like it to the body, and again, who likes it to the body? But especially Kovalev, he's very vulnerable to the body. So they knew Canelo was going to be able to exploit that, right? And they're like, man, fuck that. Why are we even having this? This is just a stupid matchup. Why is Canelo even going up to fight this old man who's not who he used to be? He's not this killer anymore. He's not the monster we all knew he was before Andre Ward. So why, right? And I get both points, and there's some validity to both points. However, you don't have to be a fan of Canelo. You don't have to. I'm certainly not there yet. I used to like him, and then when I fell off the Canelo wagon when he fought Liam Smith. And then, he fought Liam Smith first and then Amir Khan, right? Or was it backwards? I just remember waking up one day and seeing those fights. I remember waking up one day and he had posted a selfie, a mirror selfie on Instagram, and the motherfucker was looking so skinny. And I was like, this asshole's going to go back down to 154. I just know it. And then, what do you know? Yes, he announces a fight with Liam Smith, which in my opinion didn't make any sense at all because this guy's a UK guy, but they were going to have the fight in in Texas. And it's marketability wise, it didn't make sense. Because Liam Smith is not a household name. And then they made it in Texas. It's not like it was going to be in Vegas. It wasn't going to be that much of a revenue as compared to Vegas. Also because of the opponent. So it didn't make sense. I guess just because they were going to capture that last belt at 154. But still, to me, that shit didn't make sense. And then the whole fight with Amir Khan. Again, that shit didn't make sense to me. I know people were like, ooh, power versus speed. No, we knew he was gonna get knocked the fuck out. Why was that a thing? Other than for money, I guess, and just making the fans pay for dumb shit. But it's, that's when I started falling off the Canelo bandwagon. So, however, I can't fucking hate on the guy. Like, as much as I don't like him because of those things, recently I can't hate on him. I can't. You have to really put shit into perspective, because he really is taking care of a lot of good names, especially fighting Triple G twice. And even if you believe he lost those fights, which I think he lost the first fight and then won the second, even if you believe he lost both, those were good competitive fights. And we're not used to those. We're used to these fucking mismatches. And again, as boxing fans, we bitch about these mismatches, but then we bitch about like competitive fights too. So, ¿quién chingados entiende? Like, again, even if you think Canelo lost both fights against Triple G, it's not like Triple G just walked through Canelo. Like, it was great competitive fights. Did the scorecards in the first fight leave a bitter taste in our mouth? Fuck yeah. But the second fight was that, was that much better, that it could have literally gone either way, and it did. And it went to the particular guy that, never loses in Vegas. But it's just ridiculous to hate on Canelo. Then taking on Jacobs. I thought Jacobs was going to put a little bit more of effort, especially after missing that second day weigh-in where he was just like, fuck it, I'm heavy. I thought he was going to be like, well, I'm heavy and I lost this money. Now I'm going to make that shit worth it. I'm going to bully Canelo. You got to understand that there's a reason these guys respect his power, respect his counters. That's why he didn't bully him. So until like the 8th round and then on, it was too late. Now, there's a lot of people whose point is, oh, why is he ducking Charlo, or why is he ducking Boo Boo Andre? And to me, it's like, do you know that both Boo Boo and Charlo will still be there after November 2nd? Like, do you know that? Because these motherfuckers are both going to still be in their prime. They're both going to be in their prime after Canelo fights Kovalev, right? They're still there. They ain't going anywhere. And there's this narrative, there's been this narrative all of Canelo's career that he's either ducking people or he's, making the catchweight thing. That's another thing that was bullshit, 155. I'm not going to lie. But it's like, you can't keep making this narrative that Canelo's scared of people, because he keeps proving us wrong. Like, people are like, oh, he's too scared to fight Lara. He fought Lara. Oh, he would never fight Triple G. He fought Triple G twice. Oh, he would never take on Jacobs. Even for an interview with Fight Hub, it was both Abel and Tom Loeffler who were like, I don't think that fight happens. Canelo's not going to put himself on a risk to fight Jacobs. And what do you know? He fights him. Now, it might be not your favorite people who he's fighting, but he's fighting these guys. And with Boo Boo, he had a contract with Boo Boo should he not make the fight with Kovalev. So if he wasn't going to fight Kovalev, he was going to fight Boo Boo. Like, it was already written. It was already on paper that if that fight with Kovalev didn't come through, he was going to fight Boo Boo anyway. So how can you guys say he's ducking Boo Boo? And then the thing that he's been ducking the Charlos since 154. No offense, but the way we've seen the Charlos look recently, especially the one at 160, it's like, how can you say Canelo's ducking him? I just don't understand. But I do hope, however, that after Canelo either win or lose against Kovalev, I hope that he does go and stay at 160. And a lot of people are saying that, no, that's too much weight to put on, and that he's going to go back down to only 168, not 175. But if you really think about it, Canelo's always been heavier. He's always been able to make that 160 weight. But on fight night, that motherfucker comes in at like 170 something anyway. So I don't think it'll be a struggle for him to fight at 170 something and then go back down to 160. But that's just my opinion. I think he has a lot to take care of at 160 before he actually takes on competition at 168. Now, another thing is that, like, why Kovalev? Why are you fighting the weakest motherfucker at 175? Just like you fought the weakest motherfucker at 168. Like, you're obviously just there for a title. Like, you don't care about... And I've been saying this. I fucking been saying this. Because when people were saying, oh, you know, now Canelo's gonna fight Yard, I'm like, he don't give a fuck about Yard. You know, when people thought that Yard was gonna take care of Kovalev, people were like, oh, if Yard beats Kovalev, then Canelo's going to fight Yard. No, I don't think Canelo had any intentions of fighting anybody else at 175 other than Kovalev. That was a specific target. And I've been telling people this. I've been telling them. I'm like, that Canelo don't give a fuck about the light heavyweight division. He wants that one specific champion. Specifically, he wants Kovalev. He don't give a fuck about Bivol, who was also open for any date in this fall. You know, like, he was open. You know, the other two, Verdebeev and Volsdick, they already got fighting each other. So he don't give a fuck about anybody else at 175. He cares about Kovalev and Kovalev only. And of course, because he sees vulnerabilities. He's not going to take on, excuse me, I'm about to eat hot Cheetos. He's not going to take on fucking Bivol, who has an awkward style. He has some power and he has like a really nice technical ability. Why would he do that? When he could just fight Kovalev, who, yes, is older. He shows vulnerability to the body, which Canelo can take advantage of with that hook. So it's like, why are you hating on him for taking on someone that is easier for him and he's going to become a champion? Why? Like, I really do not understand. Like, I really don't. Because at the end of the day, going up in weight is already a risk on its own. Whether you think he's a favorite or not with any fighter. Going up in weight, that's the number one factor. It's like the weight. Kovalev has been at 175 forever. And he's been fighting guys there forever. And he has a power, that jab. And I think I said this in the last podcast. My biggest concern is that Canelo versus Kovalev is going to be very similar to like Mikey versus Spence. Because, yeah, we were all like, woo, Mikey can, you know, he's used his angles and shit. And because of Spence's longer reach and height, he was able to just boop Mikey away. You know that what that fight reminded me of? And I think I tweeted this and people got really mad at me. That scene in a Scary Movie, I think it was Scary Movie 2, where Cindy and Brenda are like sleeping over and then Brenda gets killed by the ring girl. I remember she's like, Cindy, this bitch is messing up my floor. Remember that? Remember when like the Brenda's like holding the evil girl by like the head and the little girl keeps swinging and she can't reach Brenda? That was Mikey versus Spence to me. And I feel like that might be Canelo versus Kovalev. Because yes, we're all focusing on how Kovalev is old and Canelo has those body shots and it's fucking, you know, he's past his prime and it's over for him. But he has that jab and Kovalev has such an underrated boxing ability. And we saw this against Alvarez. And we saw this against Ward too. But people don't want to say that because they glorify Ward. But Kovalev has always had some really nice boxing ability. The only reason is that he gets more, obviously, attention for his power because he's been knocking motherfuckers out. But he has a lovely jab. Like, his jab is so sharp. You can knock motherfuckers out with that jab. So, imagine if he's just jabbing Canelo to death and Canelo can't even get in there without getting just popped. Now, do I have the edge on Canelo? Yeah, especially because, again, Kovalev is older. He's vulnerable to the body. I think Canelo's going to take advantage of that. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just like Mikey versus Spence. And you can't be mad at Kovalev for like taking this fight. Or it's beneficial for the both. Because Canelo can become a 4-division world champion. And Kovalev is getting a really nice payday when we know that he's not going to get paid any type of amount of like that against any other light heavyweight. And he's on his way out. So leave the man alone. With Canelo specifically, I just don't understand the hate against him fighting these guys. If Boo Boo or Charlo went up to fight Kovalev, I don't think they would get as much fucking hate as Canelo does for going up and fighting him. I actually think Kovalev, and if he fought anybody else, you know, at 160, he would be the favorite. Now, another thing is, I don't understand why, again, people are so mad at Canelo for wanting these belts. And it's an opportunity. Like, you're going to fight whoever the fuck, and you're doing the other guy a favor because, again, he's on his way out, and he's going to get a paycheck. Now, and a fight that was announced just today was, I think, Gabriel Rosado versus Billy Joe. Honestly, I just woke up, and I haven't checked much, but I think I saw it somewhere on Twitter that Gabriel Rosado versus Billy Joe, and it's like, shouldn't you guys be mad about this fight? Gabriel Rosado has like 3 wins, 6 defeats, and 1 draw, I think, in his last 10 fights. Why is Billy Joe fighting him? Like, Billy Joe Why are you guys not mad at that? No one's saying shit. No one's saying shit. And I don't get it. I don't get what the hell you guys' problem is sometimes with just your favoritism. And that's when you realize you're not a fan of the sport. You're just hating on someone. You know, and then you can, I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm going to do, obviously, a video on, like, my prediction and my analysis as soon as the fight gets nearer. But right now, I can't be mad about Canelo fighting Kovalev. If I think anybody can beat Canelo, or at least put him on his ass for once in his fucking career, it's Kovalev. And I honestly, low-key, I'm hoping that Kovalev, like, jabs him and he, like, goes to the floor. Just so, like, we could be like, oh, my God, you know, like, because he's never been knocked down before. Canelo's never been knocked down. I want to see it. I don't want him, like, maybe knock. I don't think Canelo would, like, get knocked the fuck out. But I would love to see him, like, just taste the canvas for one. Like, that'd be fucking cool. But I've been fucking spending, like, almost 20 minutes talking about this bullshit, so let's move on. What else happened this week? So this week, I attended the Golden Boy media workout for Munguia and Ryan Garcia's fight that took place this Saturday. Well, you know, we all know Ryan didn't fight, but I attended the workout, and, you know, it was cool. You got our little interviews. What was the most interesting part about that day, though, was that after we all interviewed Romero Duno, he went and did, like, a little workout or whatever, little shadow boxing on the ring at Xicana.Boxing Club. And then it was time for people to interview Ryan, right? So we're there interviewing Ryan. And all of a sudden, sorry, I got a text. And all of a sudden, we see Duno, like, kind of creeping up behind Ryan. And you can tell that Duno wanted a face-off. You can tell that Duno was, like, behind him, like, hey, let's face off. And the media obviously wanted them to face off because, hey, you know, like, we want these pictures, we want these videos, face off. But Ryan was so immediately dismissive about it. Like, he turned around, he saw him, and he was like, hey, Duno, hey, next fight. All right, next fight. And then he left. And it's like, can y'all face off a little bit? And that made me feel a certain type of way because I'm like, Ryan, why are you acting brand new? Like, I don't think Duno beats Ryan. I really don't. Especially after Saturday's performance. But I do think that there's some, I don't think Ryan's scared, but I do think there is some hesitation to take on Duno because Duno punches fucking hard. But he also doesn't have the best defense. I think Ryan beats him and even maybe knocks him out because of his speed and because, again, Duno leaves himself very open. But we know what happened with Ryan, right? Comes in on the way, at the day of the weigh-in. His opponent is nowhere to be found, and he makes weight. Then we find out that Avery Sparrow has gotten arrested, right? And at first, when this happened, like, I was very tinfoil hat, bitch. Like, I was like, so you're telling me that the day Canelo announces that he's fighting Kovalev in November, Ryan's opponent all of a sudden is MIA and he's not going to fight? Really? Like, I was like full conspiracy bitch, like tinfoil hat on bitch. Like, I was thinking and I was like, you know, that doesn't make sense. That don't make no sense to me, you know? But I don't know. Then we started seeing all this other shit. And apparently, Avery Sparrow had like a warrant for his arrest. And Golden Boy knew. And they never told Ryan or his team. And everybody's like, holy shit. So there was all these like post drama by people on the Zone and the David Haney card. By the way, David Haney looks fucking amazing. Shit, man. That kid is something else. I've been impressed by Devin Haney, but this was good, man. This guy was an undefeated champion, and Devin Haney took care of this guy. Like, he broke something, and he's, like, very proud of it. I ain't hating, but anyway, we'll go on that later. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. In the Zone broadcast, the commentators were talking about how Eric Gomez, who is a matchmaker, right, for Golden Boy, was like saying that Ryan turned down the Duno fight as a replacement because he was saying Duno's too tough. No, Ryan popped off on Twitter. He's like, I never fucking said that. Like, when the fuck did I or my team say that? Like, that never happened. Why the fuck you lying? And Canelo was, like, retweeting all of these things. Like, Brian went on, like, this rant about Golden Boy and their lack of professionalism and the lack of, I guess, loyalty to him for not letting him know of these issues and then not helping him out when this happened into making another fight and then lying about why he didn't take the Duno fight, right? And then Eric Gomez came back and was like, actually, I my bad. I didn't mean to say that. I meant I think it's tough for him and something like that. So then, again, Canelo was just retweeting all these things from Ryan, which made us think, like, damn, imagine if Ryan and Canelo both leave Golden Boy. Like, Golden Boy would only be left with Virgil as, like, their good fighter, you know? Like, I'm JoJo, but, you know, point is, like, what would Golden Boy do without Canelo? And then without Ryan, which I'm pretty sure Ryan's going to be out the door soon. And, again, that made me think, like, okay, that's fucked up. That I do feel for Ryan, like, in the way that he hasn't fought since March because of his own issues with his promoter. I mean, with his manager and promotion too, though. He's been vocal about his, unhappiness and disappointment in Golden Boy and his manager or whatever. So that I get. So imagine you're finally fighting again, and then your opponent falls off, like, the day of the weigh-in. Like, that must suck. Like, that must fucking suck. And I do feel a little bit for him. And then, while I was at the StubHub, I'm not fucking calling it the Dignity, whatever the fuck. I'm never calling it that. While I was at the StubHub, a person close to Ryan's team came up to me and we're talking, and I'm like, I'm gonna ask for the tea. I'm like, hey, what happened with Ryan? And he's like, oh, well, Ryan's really upset because Golden Boy knew this whole time. They knew that this kid, Avery, had a warrant. So they hired somebody in Philly, like an attorney in Philly, to basically take care of it, so that they could put the warrant on hold up until after the fight, And they said, yeah, it's taken care of. They told, not Ryan's team, I think Ryan's advisor or something like that. But they didn't tell Ryan or his team. So they're like, oh, yeah, like, it's taken care of. And then, point is, no, it fucking wasn't. And at first I was like, holy shit, are you serious? But when I was at the Logan Paul KSI bullshit, yeah, I went. The strength and conditioning coach for Logan Paul, who works at Churchill's gym, boxing gym, he told me that the marshals went to his gym, or to that gym, and they were, like, asking them shit about Avery Sparrow. So then I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, they came, but he was jumping from gym to gym, so they were trying to find him, and they came, and they interrogated us about where we knew where he was at, and obviously we don't. So I was like, damn, that's crazy, right? So when I'm at the StubHub, and this guy from Ryan's team is telling me all this stuff, I'm like, oh shit, now that guy wasn't lying. It's true. Like, they were looking out for him. They were looking, and they were trying to catch him, right? So when the guy, Ryan's team guy was telling me all this, he was saying that, they were trying to make him fight Peter Petrov, who, as we know, he's had, like, 2 title shots already. But they were offering him less money. So they were going to give Ryan less money to fight Peter Petrov, who has more fights than Ryan, has had 2 title shots, lost them, of course, but he has more experience, and that he would come in heavier. He didn't really tell me the way, but that he would have to obviously come in heavier because it's a day before the fight. He's not going to be fight ready, 135. So they were offering Ryan less money to take on this fight. And of course he was like, fuck no, I'm not going to fight this guy with less money. So they said, okay, I'll fight Romero Duno, but for more money. Like, fix your mistake, Golden Boy. Like, you did this. This happened because you didn't take the proper, measures to ensure that my opponent wouldn't fucking get arrested. And apparently Golden Boy did not do it. Golden Boy did not, pay the extra money for Ryan to be able to fight Duno. And, it sucks because I think I tweeted that too, like, oh, hey, if Avery Sparrow's gone, just make Duno versus Ryan. They're both on weight. They're both fighting in that fucking card. They're both ready. Why not? But besides the money part, because Ryan obviously is very vocal. I think he already did like an interview where he said that that's why he didn't fight Duno. That he was going to just to prove everybody wrong, to be able to say, hey, I fought Duno and I fucked him up and I don't even think he's a tough guy, but it was because of the money. I don't think it was much because of the money. I think Ryan wanted some sort of apology from Golden Boy other than, oops, we fucked up. He wanted them to be like, no, okay, you fucked up. Okay, now give me more money because this is an inconvenience that I have to go through because of you. Which, honestly, to me, it makes sense. It makes sense for Ryan not to want to fight this guy on short notice. And with no extra pay, or paid less even. So he would have to like take this whole inconvenient thing on Golden Boy's expense, and I'm pretty sure like that did not sit well with him, which again I understand. But what I was thinking about, which is true, I think Coach Henry in this, I think the interview is with Fight Hype. So if you guys go on YouTube, I think just type Fight Hype or something, and they're going to have that sit down with Ryan. And I think it's true. It really hit me what Coach Henry said, which is Ryan's dad. He said, they were trying to offer Ryan money for the Duno fighter. They were trying to make it happen, but they don't give a fuck about Ivan Delgado. Like, Ivan Delgado was also ready. He wasn't ready. He motherfucker was like 4 pounds over the limit. But he had sold tickets. He had brought people in, like he was trying to fight. I'm pretty sure that if they were giving him some money, or he would have still gotten paid, it'd be like, okay, cool, like I get paid and I don't get to take a beating, cool. But these guys like they bring people, what the fuck? These people bring people in, their families, their friends, to come watch them fights, and Golden Boy's just like, oh, you're disposable, let's make this fight. But even then they didn't make it. But now another journalist, who I really like this journalist, but fuck, I don't remember his name, on Twitter. He talked to I'm gonna plug it in here, so I'm gonna look it up and I'll plug it in. He talked to Duno's team, who told them that again Ryan turned down the fight, and this was Golden Boy, not Ryan's team. That Golden Boy was trying to make the fight with Duno, and then that Duno's team were trying to make the fight, but then that Golden Boy wanted Ivan Delgado to fight Ryan instead of Duno. So this reporter claims that that's what Duno's team was telling them. Duno's team was like, hey, like, we want to fight Ryan. And that Golden Boy was like, no, we're going to pay Duno a step-aside fee so that Ryan can fight Ivan Delgado instead of you. And it's like, again, right here is just like he said, she said type of shit. But the common denominator here is Golden Boy, Ryan's saying this one thing, that Golden Boy's lying. And then Duno's team is saying this other thing that Golden Boy's telling them that we can't confirm. But it's all Golden Boy in the middle of it. And that sucks. Now, again, I told you guys, me first, when I tinfoil hat, I was like, bro, like, this is just some publicity shit. They wanted to seem like Canelo and Ryan are mad at Golden Boy just so they can, for the next fight, it's even, like, more people, or it's even more, I don't know, I just, tinfoil hat bitch here. And now I'm like, I don't think so. I think Golden Boy really is in a fucking pickle with these dudes. Like, they're not making these guys happy. They're not like, I don't know how to explain it, but this just has to be some bullshit, So Ryan, who knows when the fuck he's gonna fight next? I think the only thing that they can make up for Ryan for this is, put him as a co-main of Canelo and, like, pay him some good fucking money. Because if they don't, Ryan's gonna wait for the contract to be over, some type of, like, Mikey shit with Top Rank shit, like, similar to that, and just leave. But, so Ryan didn't fight, and his fans were mad because some people are flying from, like, out of state to come see Ryan and shit, so that sucks. But, also, I talked to Duno both before, at the media workout and after, and he kept saying, like, oh, I'm not that good, even though he was wearing, like, a Ryan stop running your next or something. And I think they covered, like, a certain part, and I think it's because they spelt it wrong. I think they covered it up and taped it up because it said Ryan, you're next, as in Y-O-U-R instead of Y-O-U-R-E, and I think that's why they covered it up. But, he keeps, like, I don't know if he just says that to, like, make Ryan think like, oh, I'm gonna just fight this guy. But he's like, oh, I'm not that good. Like, at the media workout, he's like, I'm not that good. That's why Ryan maybe, that's why Golden Boy maybe doesn't want to give me the Ryan fight because they know I'm not that good. And then after I'm like, hey, you had a nice fight with Alvaro Delgado. How do you rate yourself? I'm not that good. I'm like, well, can you fucking stop saying that? Now I'm gonna put a little clip here of both of those times, and then of those interviews. I mean, if you want to hear the rest of it, you can go to Xicana.Boxing on YouTube and listen to the whole interviews. But yeah, he said that.
I'm not that good, but they want me to fight to fight them all. It's okay for me. I want to fight them. All good prospect in Golden Boy promotion. I want to fight them. Maybe Golden Boys didn't want me to fight them because I'm not that good, but I can fight. I can fight all the prospect.
Why do you say you're not that good? I've seen your knockouts. You knock out people cold. Why do you say that?
Because I know that in myself I can do a lot more better in the future. That's why I need to train really hard to become a good boxer.
How do you rate your performance today? You're being hard on yourself on Wednesday. How do you rate yourself?
I'm not that good, but I always want to win the fight. That's why I'm not giving up, even though it's so hard for me to win the fight.
Now, Eric Morales was at that media workout too, and he gave us his prediction on Kovalev versus Canelo, which I will put here.
Pues es una pelea interesante. Kovalev es mal que bien, sigue siendo campeón, si no mal recuerdo. Es un peleador fuerte, es un peleador duro. A lo mejor ya está grande y su edad le pesa arriba del ring, pero la experiencia que tiene, pues va a ser una pelea muy complicada. Veremos si realmente vamos a ver si no se equivocó Canelo, ¿no? Tiene la ventaja porque está más joven, más fuerte, más rápido, pero la fuerza la tiene Kovalev y de un golpe se puede acabar todo.
Now, I think the reason why we're so intrigued about Munguia, and as he said, this was his last fight at 154, and then he's going to vacate the title. And we're all intrigued because Eric Morales is going to be in the corner of Munguia, and it's like now he's, they're both from Tijuana, they're fucking, fucking Eric Morales is a legend, and we're like, oh, cool, maybe he'll teach, maybe teach Munguia some defense, but we were like, should Eric Morales be the guy to teach somebody defense? Because he was no like slick fighter. He was more of a Mexican style type fighter que se fajaba y tiraba putazos, right? But I really liked Eric Morales' answer to that question, because I think somebody asked him like, oh, you weren't like a Mayweather, so why are you teaching him? Why are you how are you gonna teach him defense? And he's like, defense is not just being slick. He's like, defense is basically knowing how to throw punches without getting caught back or getting caught as hard. Being offensive can be your defense if you know how to work the angles. If you know how to work your opponent properly, that your offense can definitely be your defense. And he's like, for me to try to take that away from Munguia, he's like, that'd be wasted talent, because this kid is a come forward guy. This kid is obviously a powerful guy. Who am I to tell him to ignore that so he can just be defensive? He's like, I want to teach him how to land the better punches without leaving himself wide fucking open. I'm gonna put this shit in Spanish because it's in Spanish, but in English I'm telling you what the fuck he said. Like, he's basically saying that, like, I want him to be productive with his offense, so that is his defense, right? But on Saturday, yes, Munguia, the only thing I saw difference from Munguia is that, like, he got low, like, he ducked some punches by getting low. He getting low, he was like, and that's about it. Like, I didn't see, and we can't expect changes from one camp to the next or one fight to the next. And we know that this is Eric's first fight in Munguia's corner, but we can't expect much, and I didn't see much of a difference. And I'm worried about it because he said this is his last fight at 154, but then at the post-fight, which I also have on my YouTube, so go check it out, he says, oh, he's going to talk to his team if it is his last one or not, that they got to talk. And I'm like, you need to fix your fucking defense before you go up to 160, because if you face any of these top guys, they're going to fuck you up. Like, I don't think Munguia being this young guy, and again, like, a lot of people are hating on him, but hey, an opportunity fell in his lap, and he took it. A title opportunity. Now, other guys at 160, I don't know. And that was his, if anything, that was his advantage at 154, is that he was a stronger, bigger dude. He was a stronger, bigger dude against everyone. And he won't have that at 160. Maybe the height, but the stronger, I don't know about all that. So I am worried about Munguia at 160. But I really do hope that he's young still. So I do hope that he does get some defensive fundamentals at least. Because I didn't see anything different. He was still throwing his fucking punches wide as fuck. He was headhunting. He did a couple body shots, which I think that was the second one that Patrick took a knee. It was over a body shot. Why did I say buddy? A body shot. So, yeah, I don't know. That shit was weird as fuck to me. And speaking of Mexicans who just came into the radar like Jaime Munguia, you know who the fuck reminds you of Jaime Munguia a lot? Because of the circumstances? Navarrete. Emmanuel Vaquero Navarrete, who's actually fighting in the, who fought at Top Rank Saturday 2 after like 2 weeks. He had just fought like 2-3 weeks ago in, at the Bank of California Stadium here in LA. And he basically knocked out Panchito de Vaca, which, hey, Vaquero Navarrete against De Vaca, I thought that was pretty fucking clever and hilarious. But I have the humor of a 12-year-old. Point is, Navarrete reminds me a lot of Munguia in the way that both these motherfuckers came out of nowhere. Like, nowhere. Nobody knew who they were, really. Or the ones that did, because they're Mexican and they're familiar with the Mexican landscape. They didn't really give them that much of a shot. I know they thought they were just some other mandatory, like that the main guy was going to sweep right through. And no, it's like 2018, Munguia had 5 fights. 3 of those, no, was it 3 of those? I think 3 of those were knockouts. And it's like, who is this guy? And wow, the wow factor. And they won a title. And now Navarrete is the same thing. Navarrete is like, who is this guy? Oh shit, look at what he did to Dog Bay twice. And, he did that to Panchito de Vaca. And now he has, who was his opponent? Some other Mexican dude. Same thing, right? It was like a TKO for the 4th round. And again, it's like these guys that you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. But they also remind me in the way that these guys don't have any big defense. You know what I mean? Like, yes, Navarrete is a little bit more accurate with his punches. He doesn't leave himself super wide open, even though he does leave himself pretty open. Because the other guy was landing some really decent shots. But they're both, like, just come forward guys. The only difference is that I don't know how to explain it. But Navarrete and Munguia both had that height and reach advantage in their weight division where they became champions out of nowhere. Right? They both don't have the best defense. The only thing I think is that Navarrete has more of a shot of staying champion because of his awkward style at that division. And Munguia, I don't think he can beat the other champions at 154. And I don't think he can beat the champions at 160 either. So even though they're both familiar in those ways, I think Navarrete is like the guy has some better opportunities unless Munguia really gets his shit together, right? So yeah, like Bob Arum is like completely in love with Navarrete right now, like especially at this fight against De Vaca. After like really post fight, he's like, "You're fighting September 14th," even though that was like 3 weeks ago, right? So Bob Arum is in heaven right now. Now all Mexicans this weekend did pretty well in the scorecards, except Marisela Cornejo, because she got beat by Franchon Cruz once again. And, dude, I fell for Franchon Cruz. I do have an interview with her post-fight. Well, not an interview. It's like a roundtable thing. And I could see what she would be like, damn, they're fucking setting me up. Because they said that the opponent from Mexico had visa issues, but then they bring Marisela Cornejo, who we knew that the first fight, even though she whooped her ass, one judge had it a draw. And people were like, and we know, as much as I want to support women's boxing, with Marisela, is like, we know she's there because she's friends with the WBC people. Like, she's been getting these title shots because she's friends with the WBC. And she's been getting these decisions that she didn't really win because she's friends with the WBC. Because look at that fight with Erin Tuffield, who she's like 40 years old. She hadn't fought in 12 years. And she won that fight, in my opinion. And in the eyes of a lot of people, And especially even the the ringside people for that fight, they had Aaron winning, but the judges gave it to Maricela in a unanimous decision. So it's like, I can see why after seeing all that, Franchon Cruz could have felt like, oh shit, they're setting me up. But luckily, I mean, there's no way. Like, Franchon Cruz, even though she has less fights, she was she's a former Olympian, so she outclassed Maricela Cornejo completely. And Maricela, the only one I know that was Mexican and didn't win this weekend, because Pedraza versus Chon Cepeda actually beat Pedraza. That was a really good fight. You gotta give Pedraza props for going up to 140. But Cepeda, man, he does not get enough credit, that dude, man. I'm one of those people who think that Cepeda beat Jose Ramirez, which only makes Jose Ramirez's win over Maurice Hooker that much more impressive. And it puts you into perspective how good Chon Cepeda is, and people don't give him enough credit. Like, a lot of people are like, who the fuck is this bum? Who the fuck is Chon Cepeda? And it's like, the only other loss Chon Cepeda had before Ramirez was another world title shot. And that was because he had like a weird injury during the fight. So he wasn't able to fight, right? And those two are his only losses. His only losses are to world champions, and arguably the last one he won. And then, so he did really well against Pedraza, another Mexican-Puerto Rico beef. It wasn't really beef, it's not like they hate each other. But it was a really nice Puerto Rico versus Mexico bout, and Mexico won. Now, let's talk about the fake Mexican, Tyson Fury. He won, but boy, did they give him a run for his fucking money. Now, there's a lot, again, just like with the Canelo versus Kovalev thing, there's two very different views for fucking Fury acting like a Mexican. And I know both sides have a valid argument, but you gotta call it how it is. Okay, and you guys know who the fuck I am. You guys know how I am, and if you don't, well, I'm sorry, but you're about to find out today. We saw Andy. Andy made a live. He's like, hey, you're not Mexican. Stay in your lane. Right? And people were like, chill. He's just showing appreciation for Mexico. He's Mexican Independence Week, and let him show us some love. And it's like, true, but is it cultural appropriation? Yes, it is. Like, whether you're okay with it or not, you gotta call it what it is, and it is cultural appropriation, right? It is, because why not just rap? But you can be like, hey, I'm gonna have like the Mexican dancers in my ring walk, and this is from Mexico, even though I'm not Mexican. This for Mexico. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to, for this fight, this fight's dedicated to the Mexican fans, right? No. Cultural appropriation, if you don't know what it is, Google it. But it's basically being a vulture for someone's culture. Hey, that rhymes. Like being a culture vulture for profit and for marketing, right? And that's more acceptable in sports, right? It's acceptable in sports. Floyd's been doing it. He's been fighting September his whole fucking career, right? And wearing the sombreros and shit, like, it's more normal in sports. People don't really get super pissed off about it because it's sports, right? It's marketing. It's marketing. You gotta appeal to all the fans. In the Mexican Independent Weekend, we gotta appeal to the Mexican fans. However, like, you guys gotta understand that it's the narratives around these appreciation things that make it very much offensive to some people. The sombrero, the fucking sarape, like, it's these exaggerated mannerisms and exaggerated like costume like depictions of what Mexicans are or should be, right? It's never like, oh hey, I'm just gonna like I said, I'm gonna have these dancers and they're gonna come out and Viva Mexico, cabrones. No, it's like, oh, sombrero and fucking sarape, and I'm gonna have mariachi, and I'm gonna be like, like this super exaggerated, almost caricature style Mexican, and that's what makes people like, you didn't have to do all that. That's when it's cultural appropriation, however you put it, but even more so, but it gets offensive to certain people when it's like that, when you're being an exaggerated representation, stereotypical Mexican, right? You're the stereotype. The Mexicans say, well, a guy with a sombrero and a fucking sarape. That's what you think when you think of Mexican, right? So I know that it's more important and more of a goal to make money and appeal to these fans, but is it cultural appropriation? Again, yeah, you gotta call it what the fuck it is, and it is cultural appropriation. That is that. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, what about Triple G? Triple G said Mexican style. And you guys know I love Triple G, but yeah, that's a perfect example. Mexican style. Oh, yeah, Mexican style. It's like, first of all, what is Mexican style? Because Mexican style is not just come forward. Look at Finito Lopez. Look at Salvador Sanchez. Juan Manuel Marquez wasn't just come forward. He was like a very calculated. He had all his combinations timed. Great timing. Wasn't just come forward. So it's like, why would you want to define what Mexican style is when you're not even Mexican? And again, like some Mexican fans get offended, which they have the right to. And some other Mexican fans don't get offended, which they also have the right to. But you gotta understand que in a way te están haciendo pendejos because they're selling you what you think your country should represent, right? And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Was I mad about Fury? No. Like I've been watching boxing long enough and other sports long enough to know that this is all part of marketing. It's all part of marketing to a certain fan base. But is it cultural appropriation? Yeah, it is. Whether people want to admit it or not, whether people want to be offended by it or not, you can't be. The only thing is that you can't be mad about people being offended or being like, oh, pussies. Like, come on. They have every right to be offended. Was I? No. Like, whatever. Is it cultural appropriation? Yeah. But it's, again, sports. Not that it makes it okay, but it's more acceptable. But it is what it is. So you can't be mad at Andy for saying, hey, bro, like, you're not Mexican. Stay in your fucking lane. Because he has every right to feel that way, right? So, yeah. Wallin, or whatever his name is, Wallin, right? He gave Tyson Fury a run for his money. Gave him 2 big-ass cuts on his eye. So, it was nice to see Fury struggle a little bit in the way because he's been so... his last fight, he was just so, like, slick. And it was like, oh, look at this guy. So it makes things more interesting, I think. If Fury had just, again, steamrolled through this guy, it wouldn't have proven anything. Nothing would have been any, there wouldn't be no wow factor to this shit. It would have just been like, oh, look at Fury, doing his usual thing. And, he's just about to fight Wilder. Now, with this happening, it's like, ooh, he looks vulnerable a little bit against this guy. And again, I keep telling you guys, do not fucking overlook these opponents. Don't. I know people will be like, oh, records, or I'd never heard of these motherfuckers, so that must mean that they're nobody. Like, get that fucking mentality out of your head. Always give these guys a shot, especially looking at them in the first few rounds. Like, Wallin never backed out. And it was a really cool thing that it made things interesting because now we're like, you remember how Fury said he would beat Andy with one hand tied behind his back or both hands, something like that? And again, Andy tweeted like, oh, after that performance, I don't know about that, Chief. Like, I don't know about that. So it makes things interesting to see these guys who we, glorify in the heavyweight division as the best get given trouble by these guys that we don't, really know. It's pretty great because, again, like I said, we bitch about all these mismatches, right? We bitch about them, another fucking, another, guy beating the guy that he's supposed to beat. Another fucking, calculated fight. And this is like, ooh, something out of the norm, so that was fucking amazing. I like to see it. I went to end things off, I went to that KSI Logan Paul shit, and I feel like I died a little bit inside. And that's another thing that, again, people are like either hate it or love it. People are like, yeah, fans of the sport, like more people, more eyeballs. And I know that shit racked in like 6 million views. And I was there, and it was all kids. You know what that reminded me of? Back in like the early 2010, 2012, when people were crazy over Tyler, the Creator. I remember, how Tyler, the Creator is? All those little kids with their swag. And that reminded me of that. Because while I was leaving and walking, because I went to like the little round table thing that they were supposedly going to do. And I found out until later that I wasn't even supposed to be in that room. Some lady sent me to that room. And it was just like Logan Paul's production people, and they were like putting up shit for his podcast. And I'm like, should I leave? But I'm like, I'm just gonna stay here. So I was like just looking around, because I knew that I wasn't supposed to be there. So I knew that if I went and I asked them for an interview, they would have known that I wasn't from there, that I wasn't supposed to be there. So I just started to observe, and I mean, I should have known, but I was like super disappointed in the fact that they were on a round table, all the YouTubers and the brother and they were also recording like one of their podcasts. I mean, not their video blogs that they have on their channel. Honestly, I've never watched the Logan Paul thing other than him recording a fucking suicide guy that had, a guy that was hanging, and fuck him for that. Like, I fucking don't like that kid. But they were literally all like in a table planning out what they were gonna say. They were like, oh, I have an idea. How about you go tell him to go fuck himself, and then I run behind you and I yell. And they were like literally around the table just discussing how they were going to scripting the whole fucking thing. And then Logan Paul's brother, whose name I don't know or care to know, he was like, I'm gonna say if you are a girl and you ever fuck KSI, I feel sorry for you. And like, I'm just there like, these motherfuckers are just like planning this whole thing, which I should have known better. I should have known that's what they do, but I was giving them the benefit of the doubt that it'd just be like some normal press conference. And it got me thinking, like, do they do this for all press conferences? All fighters do this? And again, like, there's this like divided audience where one of them is like, more eyes to boxing. How could this hurt anybody, right? And then there's other ones that are like, yo, this is disrespectful as fuck. You got two guys who are YouTubers who have never fought. They fought that exhibition match, was like a sparring session. It's like, you guys, they are gonna make more money. They're gonna be headlining in front of other guys who have been working their whole fucking careers, give their whole life to boxing, and they can't even make it there. Like, this is so disrespectful, right? And I get that. And then I talked to, Ryan Garcia. I asked him, like, hey, how do you feel? You've been vocal yourself about not getting paid or promoted enough. And then, meanwhile, these guys that you will support, because he's friends with that Logan Paul motherfucker. So I'm like, you are very supportive of them getting paid and getting promotion, even though they are not boxers. And I'll put the answer to that here.
At the end of the day, I respect when somebody has some type of value, They may not have the boxing value, but they have the viewer value. And at the end of the day, people are going to watch the sport because it, and Eddie Hearn's going to put on real fighters on the undercard. That's what he claims. And I feel like, that can't be bought. Those viewers can't be bought. You can't force those type of viewers to watch boxing, but they're going to watch because Logan and KSI are going to fight. And you know what? I feel like it shines light no matter what. Let them get their money. Oh, well, they're not going to fight again. They're not going to become real fighters. You know what I mean? It's a one-time thing. It's a rematch, whatever they got going on, that's for them. Get your money. But it's still shining light onto boxing no matter what. Like, real boxers, they get their money at sooner or later, And I just got to respect that, whatever they're bringing to the table. Eddie Hearn sees it. And some people see it, some people don't, and everybody's going to have a debate. But at the end of the day, it's happening, and I wish the best for that event.
So it seems that a lot of boxers are okay with it. I mean, you saw my interview with Benavidez where he's like, I'm not going to fucking fight in no YouTube star bullshit. Like, thank God I'm not with the zone, right? That's what he said. But a lot of them are like, yeah, whatever. Like, as long as I'm getting paid and as long as I'm getting publicity and more eyes to support, whatever, like, I'm just there to fight. But what my concern is, see, I am one of those that I'm like, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I have that argument too. That's like, oh man, I feel sorry for these guys who are actually putting their lives at risk to like maybe one day be even just televised, and they're not being televised or they're not being given any attention. Meanwhile, these YouTuber guys are just there, it's for a show, for a circus. That's fucked up. But now I think about their narrative that's like, oh, well, more eyes to the sport and, maybe more money, that's going to bring a lot of money this fight. But to me, it's like, how many of those people do you think will retain? And I think besides the ones that just forget to cancel their DAZN membership, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot like that. Because when I saw, there was not one motherfucking adult at that thing. While I was walking to my parking lot, to the parking lot after, like, I was like, I'm leaving. Like, I'm like, this is stupid. I do not want to go to the press conference for this shit. I'm just going to go. I didn't feel right. Like, it didn't sit well with me. So I was like, I'm leaving. Fuck this. So while I was walking towards the parking lot, I saw that, the press conference was going on. So while I walked by, I took a video. And it was all kids. It was all, like, fucking teenagers. And I'm like, do these motherfuckers even got a debit card or a credit card? They're going to have to ask their mom to sign up for DAZN? Like, So the parents are going to probably forget, and they're going to keep getting charged $20 a month or they're going to be like, hey, dad, it's like pay-per-view. So $100, here you go. And they're going to pay for that year. And then later on, a year later, they're going to get that renewal fee because they never forgot to cancel it. But other than that, who else are we going to retain? Because unless you're going to, Eddie Hearn's going to keep putting on these shows with like exhibitionists and YouTubers and shit like that, why would this specific demographic stay? What are you going to do next? Do that fight with, who was it? Broner versus, what's his name? Soldier Boy? Or who was Soldier Boy? Or 50? Like, 50 with Mayweather? Like, do something. If you're going to keep putting, like, exhibition matches that are going to, like, cater to that specific audience you're trying to target, then, yeah, by all means, I guess, we'll retain it. Or unless you do, like, a monthly fucking YouTube versus YouTube guy fight, yeah, you'll retain guys. But other than that, how are you going to retain these guys? I don't think these guys are going to fall in love with boxing seeing two guys that have never boxed like that in their lives. Like, that's the part that doesn't make sense to me. They're like, oh, maybe people will bring eyes to the sport and they'll fall in love with boxing like I did. Like, you're going to fall in love watching Logan Paul and KSI? Like, that's how you're going to fall in love. I don't even got to go that far. Every fight, I'm sorry for getting loud, but every fucking fight I go to, even as a fan, I'm there fucking early. I'm there for the fucking undercards. No one's there for the undercards. People only get there for the main event. It's rare unless it's like a card that's all local talent or like smaller cards. So these guys are real fans because they're there earlier, right? But for most big events, no one's there for the smaller fights. They're just there for the main event. When we went to Canelo Triple G 2, Munguia, what's his name? David Lemieux, Chocolatito. It was a stacked ass card, and no one was there. No one was there up until 8 p.m. when they started like announcing that the fight was gonna, that shit went on forever because everything ended in a knockout. So we had like an hour to kill before the main event, but there was no one there up until that last hour. So it's like, how do you expect these people to even, if the self-proclaimed boxing fans don't watch undercards, why do you expect the other people to sit through them? Like, especially when people have a pay-per-view party, right? And there's the undercards. Most people are like, I'm watching that shit. I'm in the living room watching that shit. But a lot of people are just in the kitchen eating, socializing with other people who are at the pay-per-view party. But no one's really paying attention to the undercards, unless you're like a hardcore fan and you're like a real boxing fan. And again, there's nothing wrong with casuals, but I'm just saying, like, even real boxing fans sometimes don't give a fuck about the undercards, and they'd rather do something else. So how are these kids gonna watch? Do you think these kids are gonna sit through some shit? I don't think so. And they were talking about Billy Joe being in this undercard of the KSI and Logan Paul. You really think people are gonna fall in love watching Billy Joe? I'm sorry. Nothing really against Billy Joe, really. Like, he has boxing ability, obviously, but that style specifically is not good to want to get people to watch boxing. Like, Billy Joe has a style of people who appreciate boxing, appreciate the hit, don't get hit thing. I don't think people who are watching Logan Paul and KSI will fall in love with that shit. Put someone that's gonna, like, go at it in the undercards. Don't put Billy Joe that's gonna bore these kids to death and they're not gonna watch it. So that's my take on all of that. But like I told you guys, I fucking left. Now to end things, Devin Haney looked again amazing. The Serrano sister, Amanda, she looked amazing against Hardy. Now we gotta give Hardy some props because this bitch has a tough ass chin, my dude. Tough ass chin, tough ass girl. Good for you, girl. Good for you. And I'm gonna stop talking. I think like this podcast was like super unorganized because I usually have like a bullet list of shit that I want to talk about throughout the week. I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna take note of this. This week I just literally I just woke up. I got, I put on my makeup. I'm like, I'm just gonna make a video and see how that goes. So I'm sorry this shit was all over the place. And I feel like I'm always saying that. I'm always like, oh, this is a podcast sucks because of this. Or this podcast sucks because this one was just me talking and being fucking annoying. So, I mean, I'm sorry, but oh, okay. This weekend on Friday, we do have a ShowBox card, and I know a bunch of us are like, man, Showtime's boxing is dying. It's on its way there, just like HBO. But this weekend, we do have one of my good friends fighting. He is a great talent, very, very slept on because he's not promoted by these big companies. He fights for Thompson.Boxing, which is a local boxing promotions here out of California. And this kid it's a really good, nice, definitely talented kid. His name's Michael Dutchover. And Michael Dutchover is going to be fighting for one of those little belts. It is a lightweight bout as well. And it is against Thomas Matisse, who is also undefeated. So both of these guys are undefeated. And it's going to be a good ass fucking fight. No, I think that guy has one loss. Or one draw. Anyway, this is really going to be a good fight. 10 rounds. It's in Midland, Texas. So if you're in Texas and you're next, close to Midland, you should go. Good fight. It's also going to be like Ruben Villa, who fights also in the Thompson.Boxing card. Most of these guys are Thompson kids. And this guy's also undefeated. And he's going to be in a 10-round bout against Enrique Vivas as well. And then that Asian kid, Brandon Lee, who posts videos of him knocking people out and sparring. He's going to be fighting in this card too. So it's up-and-coming shows. And I know y'all don't give a fuck about that. But you guys should really support up-and-coming guys. Because that is literally the future of boxing. So check it out. Showbox on Friday. Okay? Other than that, there's not really much going on this weekend. There was not much going on last weekend. Now, this weekend there's not going to be much going on, so call your mamas like Dan Rafael says, and just watch all my interviews on YouTube. Subscribe to my goddamn YouTube, okay? And look at my website. Alright? Alright, guys, thank you so much for just listening to me rant, I guess. If you were in traffic and shit, I hope at least this made you, I don't know, think about some shit. Comment, let me know if I get on your nerves, just cool. Just let me know what the fuck you want from me. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Oh, and thank you to the people who came up to me at the StubHub and were like, "Oh, Xicana.Boxing, hi," and they were people that were like, "Hey, looking good, Xicana.Boxing," and I was looking good. But thank you so much for you guys being nice to me in person, because on the internet people are not so nice to me. So thank you for the people in person being nice to me. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.